it is not about how much knowledge you have. It is all about the ability for you to be able to communicate in the most effective way in the form of videos like this, in the form of podcasts, or any other form of content. In this particular video, I'm going to be sharing with you 11 hacks on how you can improve your communication skills and how you can become a much better communicator in the online space. I've been getting a lot of messages from people asking me, Sid, how are you able to speak so fluently? How are you able to collect your thoughts and just go extempore on different topics that I actually train? And I'm going to break it down into 11 principles that are really working for me. Okay, I'm not a communication skills trainer, I'm not a communication skills expert, but I've just decoded what's working for me because I help people become digital leaders in the online space. With over 8,500 people in my community building their own digital ecosystems and helping many other people with their knowledge, communication is the key factor to be able to create an impact with the audience. So take your notepads, pens and papers, get ready, and let's get into the 11 hacks to improve your communication skills.
Give it up for Siddharth Rajshekar!
Hey there, Siddharth Rajshekar here. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And this is a topic that a lot of people ask me about, Sid, how do you communicate and all of that stuff. So I have to first of all thank my grandparents, okay, my grandfather specifically. He used to read a lot of books, a lot of English books back in the day itself. Even my great-grandfather was a voracious reader and they were very good in English. So it somehow, for me, my speaking abilities came by the influence and the environment that I was in when I was a child. So grandpa used to speak to me in English. My father and mother also used to speak to me in English. Both are convent studied, and I also studied in a convent school. So all of those have actually helped me become a better communicator later on as I'm doing what I'm doing. But having said that, just that background, even if you do not have that background, it does not matter. Okay, it is not just about being good in English. Okay, you can speak in whatever language that you want, and you can communicate effectively in any language that you want. So for me, I'm comfortable with English. I don't speak in any other language. But the fact here is that that environment has actually helped me become more effective in communication. But in spite of that environment, I was also an introvert, and I am still an introvert by nature. Okay, so it also has to do with a lot of personal practice and consistency and courage that has actually helped me break through. So all of you just type the words courage and consistency in the comment box, because these are the two things that you will need at a core level for you to be able to communicate really powerfully. Consistency and courage. So I'm going to break it down into 11 super hacks or 11 ways you can improve your communication skills and become a great communicator. Okay. So the first one is, I want you to make a list of topics that you love to speak about. And if you really love the topics that you like to speak about, you can go on and on and on about it rather than trying to think about things. Okay. And extempore speaking and thinking like you're speaking to a friend about a topic that you love, that is the best way to get started to improve your communication skills. For example, I love to speak about digital coaching. I like to speak about digital leadership. I like to speak about, how people can become better digital leaders. And these are all the topics that I normally talk about, which I really love. And that's what makes it so much more interesting that I can go on and on and on about it. And even the research that I do before I record any videos or anything is based on the topics that I love. Okay. Now, the second hack I want to give you to improve your communication skills is pick up patterns from fluent communicators. Make a list of people who you know are fluent in their communication in whatever language that you prefer to communicate in, and just go and look at what they are doing. Okay, look at gestures, look at body language, look at how they speak into the camera, look at what kind of words they are using, what kind of expressions do they have. So rather than consuming the content, I want you to understand the patterns on how they communicate, and then you can start to model that. In fact, I've looked at many of my mentors. I looked at how they communicate, and I'm able to absorb some of those those concepts from them. Okay. Next one is this. So picking up patterns from fluent communicators can help you cut short your learning curve, and you can go much faster. Okay. So next one is this. Number 3 is a tough one, but if you do this, I can guarantee you one thing: you can become a much better communicator than anybody else. if you can record one video per day, even if it's a 2-minute video, 3-minute video for 90 days consistently, by the end of 90 days, you'll be able to communicate on a whole different level. Now, I've spoken on stages. I've communicated, in front of audiences of 2,000, 3,000 people on large stages. And I'll tell you a secret. My ability to communicate effectively from those stages has a lot to do with me being able to communicate effectively looking at a camera without an audience. Okay. So when you are able to get into this habit of recording videos, it will have a direct impact even in your public speaking skills and your communication skills even outside. Okay, so record one video per day for next 90 days. You may or may not need to share that video, but if you share it, you'll get some good feedback. But even if you're not sharing it, just getting into this habit will help you improve your communication skills. Okay, number 4 is don't worry about being perfect. Now, even in this video, you would have noticed I also fumbled a little bit. I could not finish a few sentences, but I don't care. For me, it's like if I'm on a stage, I cannot edit anything from the stage. And that's how I also look at recording videos. I'm not editing anything. Once I hit the record button, it is recording. I don't like to stop this and I go with the flow. Even if I mumble, fumble, does not really matter. Don't worry about being perfect. You just need to get your message out there. Okay. And usually perfection syndrome comes in when you're too conscious about yourself, when you're too conscious about what other people think about you. Just forget all of that. Just think that you're speaking to your best friend. Just imagine that your camera or your webcam that you're speaking into is your most best friend, and just speak to one person. Don't speak to an audience. Speak to one person. Like right now, I'm speaking to you, the one person sitting on the other side, and that's how you'll be able to connect on a much deeper level. Okay, so make your camera your best friend. Next one is create content in the language of your choice or the language that you prefer communicating with. In my community, I have people who are really doing great in Hindi. They're doing in Telugu, Tamil. I mean, one of my students, he does his entire community building just in Tamil language, and he's so fluent in that. And rather than just trying to model the English-speaking, Western kind of influencers, he just was able to tune into his own core language and started to communicate in that language. So if you're seeing other people communicate in English, that does not mean that you have to do in English. You pick the language that you are comfortable with. And the interesting thing is that the vernacular languages, especially in India, is consumed 10 times more than English. Now, I'm comfortable with English, so I'm going to stick to English. But if you're comfortable in any other language, go with that, because there's a huge audience, a much bigger audience waiting for you over there. Whether it's Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, or Marathi, does not matter. Okay, go with the language of your choice. Number 6 is I want you to understand frameworks, because there are communication frameworks. Even in this video, if you noticed, there was a framework. I opened up the video, then there was an intro, and then I introduced myself, and then I started to get into these 11 points. Okay, so there's a framework. So when you're in my community, I actually run something called as a hackathon where I teach these frameworks. So if you're going to be doing let's say a 10-minute video, you have to break attention. You got to focus on the problem. You got to give a solution, and then there has to be a call to action. So there's a four-part framework which I detail out there. If you're doing a Facebook Live, it's a slightly different framework. If you're doing a podcast, slightly different framework. If you're going to be doing a blog article, slightly different framework. For every piece of content or any piece of communication, there are different frameworks which you need to learn. Now, you can look at the frameworks looking at other people's videos, or the best thing is you can be a part of my community. Okay, I would highly recommend that you go to sids.co/freedom, register for my next webinar, understand exactly how I'm able to help people in this space, get into my community, and you'll be learning all these frameworks inside my hackathon. Okay. Number 7 is absorb yourself in your mentor's content. And this is what I used to do, and I continue to do. My mentor, Vic Strises, he has a lot of really powerful trainings on his YouTube channel and even his courses. I've been through his courses 3-4 times. Same content. And I keep absorbing how he communicates, what words he uses. I mean, there was a time that I used to be listening to his videos for 2 to 3 hours in a day, continuously for many days. So you'll automatically start to embody and absorb all those gestures and those subtle concepts based on who you're learning from. Okay. Now you can learn from any mentor that you want, but pick anyone who is a good communicator and just keep watching their videos and start to model them, not copy them, model them. And once you absorb yourself in their content, you'll start to bring out that energy. Okay. I love to watch speeches like Dr. Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech. There's a very powerful Charlie Chaplin speech. You can go and search on YouTube, World's Greatest Speech. And you can look at speeches of some of the world's most influential people. I look at Steve Jobs, I look at Jeff Bezos, I look at all these big people who've been powerful communicators and how they're able to impact people with with their words, and I like to embody them. I like to take their energy at a subconscious level, subconscious level, and bring it out in the most powerful way. Okay. Number 8 is a technique which you can do, which I've been doing for a long time, is podcasting, and I like to speak with my eyes closed. See, when it comes to a video, it is a dual sensory activity, which means even if you're consuming this video, you have to engage your eyes and your ears, okay, to absorb this information. But in a podcast, like if I was going to record a podcast, I would switch. There's no camera in front of me, so I can just close my eyes and I can just speak my heart out. And that's why if you tune into my podcast, I share some content with a lot more depth, because here I do share in-depth content over here, but the whole feel is very different in a podcast. So if you start to do podcasts and get into the practice of communicating and just speaking extempore without any scripts, you can have some pointers, but like for example, when I do a podcast, I just have some bullet points, and once I look at the bullet point, I just get into extempore speaking. I just express myself more with my eyes closed. Okay, so this is what I would recommend that all of you can do to speak with your eyes closed. So try this for yourself and see how it works. So besides this, the next thing that you can do, the 9th hack, is to improve your vocabulary. So even though you may or may not have come from a background of let's say proper English and things like that, but still you can improve your vocabulary just by watching others. Forget about English. Even in Hindi also there's a vocabulary. Even in other languages there is a vocabulary, and it does not have to be like the old school format, but whatever is current, whatever is simple and easy to understand. And the way that I look at communication, it is not by using bombastic words and complicated words to make it sound like really like let's say Shashi Tharoor or something like that, okay, but it is to make it more relatable, like how a common person would speak, the language that even a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old can understand. That is what I look for. So see how you can pick up words, pick up your vocabulary, and also to keep it simple so that people can relate with you on a much better way. So that is number 9. Last 2 points. The 10th hack is this: whenever you feel nervous, think about service. Okay, whenever you feel nervous recording a video or communicating, think about how you can help other people, because then that will move out of your mind. Okay, a lot of people, they don't take that first step because they are nervous, and the nervousness comes because of being self-conscious, and self-conscious comes because they are too worried about what other people think. So whenever you feel nervous, think about service. So have you noted down this? Whenever you feel nervous, think about service. Okay, and the final point number 11, if you want to become a good communicator, good speaker, you want the hack for that, is this: create more original content. Don't just cut, copy and paste what other people are doing. So these 11 points that I mentioned is what I sat for 30 minutes. I thought about it. It came from my own mind. Okay. So even though you're learning from other people, when you are creating content, when you're putting content out there, let it be unique to you, because when you create something unique, it is a part of you. And when something is a part of you, it becomes so much more potent when you're bringing it out in the marketplace. And the more and more you do this, you will start to get much better in communication than ever before. Okay, so just to recap, the 11 hacks to improve your communication are this: 1, make a list of topics that you love. 2, pick up patterns from fluent communicators by watching their videos. 3, record 1 video per day for the next 90 days. 4, don't worry about being perfect. Just keep taking action. 5, create content in the language that you prefer communicating with. 6, understand frameworks in terms of how should each content piece be, starting, middle and end. Okay, whether it's a video or a podcast or a blog post or a Facebook live. Next, number 7, absorb yourself in your mentor's content. Spend hours and hours together getting their energy. Number 8 is speak with your eyes closed. Start to do more podcasts so that you can express yourself on a more deeper level. Extempore, just have bullet points, don't read scripts. Number 9 is improve your vocabulary by noting down words as you pick them up from other people. Number 10 is whenever you feel nervous, think about service. Then you'll have a different perception when you communicate. You won't be conscious about yourself. And finally, number 11 is create more original content. Create more original content and make that into a habit, because that will make a huge difference between you and anybody else out there. Okay. So what I want to do right now is I want to invite all of you to my next live webinar. If you want to learn how you can take your knowledge and make it into a super profitable business, if you want to make 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh rupees per month by selling courses, coaching, consulting, I want to invite you to my next session by going to sids.co/freedom. Register on that website, and then I'm going to do a 90-minute masterclass explaining to you everything, right from how you can take an idea that you have, your expertise, and how you can convert that into a super profitable business within 90 days. Many of my students have been able to achieve 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs within a span of 3 to 6 months, implementing my systems and my model. And this is the best time in the history of the world for you to be able to monetize your knowledge by becoming a great communicator. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful. 2 things I request from you. Number 1 is give me that like symbol and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so yet. If you're watching this on Facebook, there's a second thing. If you're watching this on Facebook, please tag a friend who needs to watch this, who needs to improve in their communication. Tag somebody that a family or a friend, a family member or a friend, and they can really benefit from this. So let's pay it forward. Share this video if you have to, because this can make a difference in somebody else's life. All the best. Take care and God bless.